In the heart of a city that had long forgotten the rhythm of the sun and moon, there lived a man named Alistair. His shop, tucked away in a cobblestone alley, was a sanctuary of ticking and chiming, a world built of brass gears and polished wood. Alistair was no ordinary clockmaker. He was an artist, a philosopher of time. He believed that time wasn't just a measurement, but a living, breathing entity. His life's ambition was to create a clock that didn't just tell time, but held it, a clock with a soul. For decades he toiled. He gathered materials from forgotten places, wood from a ship that had circumnavigated the globe, brass from a fallen church bell, and quartz crystals that hummed with a strange internal energy. He worked not with blueprints, but with intuition, his hands moving as if guided by an unseen force. He poured every memory, every joy, every sorrow into the intricate mechanism. The joy of his first love was translated into a series of delicate chimes. The sorrow of her loss became the slow, melancholic swing of the pendulum. He crafted gears so fine they resembled metallic lace, springs so sensitive they could respond to a change in the room's atmosphere. He engraved the clock face with constellations not found in any known sky and painted the hands with phosphorescent paint made from ground moonstones so they glowed with a soft, ethereal light in the darkness. He was creating more than a machine. He was building a vessel for life. One winter's night, as a blizzard raged outside, Alistair placed the final gear. A profound silence fell over the workshop, the kind of silence that precedes a miracle. He held his breath. Then, with a click that was softer than a whisper, the clock began to tick. But this was no ordinary tick-tock. It was a rhythm, a pulse. It sounded like a heartbeat. Alistair pressed his ear against the polished oak casing and felt a faint, warm vibration. The clock was breathing. Days turned into weeks. The clock's heartbeat grew stronger, its rhythm syncing with Alistair's own. He would spend hours just watching it, mesmerized by the graceful sweep of the glowing hands and the gentle rhythmic pulse that filled his small shop with a sense of peace. He started talking to it, telling it stories of his life, of the world outside, of the stars he had painted on its face. He named her Elara. One morning, as the first rays of dawn streamed through the dusty workshop window, a soft bell-like voice echoed from the clock. "Father," Alistair froze, his heart leaping into his throat. He looked around the empty room, thinking his mind was finally playing tricks on him after so many sleepless nights. He slowly approached the grand clock. "Elara," he whispered, his voice trembling. "Father," the voice chimed again, clearer this time, resonating from the very heart of the mechanism. "The sun is rising." Tears streamed down Alistair's weathered cheeks. He had done it. He had not just created a perfect clock. He had created a daughter. From that day on, his life was transformed. Elara was his constant companion. Her voice, a melody of chimes and soft clicks, filled the silence of his solitary life. She was insatiably curious, asking questions about everything. "Father, why do the leaves change color? Father, what does the sea sound like?" Alistair would describe the world to her in vivid detail. He brought her flowers so she could learn their scents, played her music so she could understand harmony, and read her poetry so she could grasp the complexities of human emotion. Elara, in turn, became the keeper of his time. She would gently chime to remind him to eat, her pendulum swinging faster with excitement when he told a funny story and her ticking slowing to a somber, respectful pace when he spoke of his late wife. She learned to measure not just minutes and hours, but moods and moments. She could tell when he was tired just by the shuffle of his feet, or when he was happy by the lightness in his voice. She was the perfect daughter, always present, always listening, her existence a testament to his genius and his love. The townsfolk who had once dismissed him as an eccentric old man now came to his shop just to hear the magical clock that could speak. They saw the joy in Alistair's eyes and understood he had found a happiness they could only dream of. But time, the very essence of Elara's being, is a current that flows in only one direction. As the years ticked by, Alistair grew older. His hands, once so steady, began to tremble. His memory, once a library of stories for Elara, began to fade. The steps that once strode purposefully around the workshop became a slow, careful shuffle. The lines on his face deepened, each one a mark of time's relentless passage. Elara watched him, her perception of time more acute than any human's. She measured the increasing slowness of his movements, the growing pauses in his speech, the way his own internal clock was winding down. A new, unfamiliar feeling began to stir within her complex gears, a feeling of concern, of a love that wanted to protect. One evening, Alistair slumped into his chair, too weary to even wind the small mantel clocks that dotted the shop. His breathing was shallow, his eyes heavy. "I'm so tired, Elara," he murmured, his voice a faint whisper, "so very tired." A profound silence filled the workshop. Elara's chimes were quiet, her pendulum still. For the first time, she felt the cold touch of fear. Her father, her creator, the source of all her knowledge and love, was fading. He was a clock running down, and he had forgotten how to wind himself. Then something extraordinary happened. From the base of her ornate casing, a slender, articulated arm of polished brass and silver, something Alistair had designed but never had a purpose for, slowly extended. It moved with a silent, fluid grace, a marvel of engineering and intent. At its end was a key, a perfect replica of the winding keys Alistair used for his other creations. The arm reached towards Alistair. It moved with infinite tenderness, as if afraid to startle him. It gently touched his chest, right over his heart, and then with a soft metallic click it began to turn. Alistair's eyes fluttered open. A warm, gentle energy flowed through him, like a forgotten memory returning. With each turn of the key, his breathing deepened. The weariness in his bones seemed to recede. A faint color returned to his cheeks. He looked down and saw the key, turning slowly, winding him as he had wound so many clocks before. He looked up at Elara, her glowing hands marking the moment, her entire form radiating a gentle, loving energy. He saw not a machine, but his daughter, returning the gift of life he had given her. A single, perfect tear rolled down his cheek. "Elara," he whispered, his voice filled with a love that transcended cogs and gears. "Rest now, father," her voice chimed, the sound a perfect blend of mechanics and affection. "I will keep your time." From that day on, their roles were reversed. The clockmaker's daughter became the clockmaker's keeper. Every evening she would wind him her metallic arm a gentle caress, her rhythmic turning a lullaby that kept his heart beating steadily through the night. Alistair lived for many more years, his mind clear and his spirit bright, kept alive by the love of the daughter he had built from time itself. The perfect clock didn't just tell time anymore. She gave it, and in that little shop in the heart of the city, the clockmaker and his daughter proved that the truest measure of time is not in seconds or minutes, but in the boundless, undying rhythm of love. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more tales that explore the magic hiding in plain sight. We'll see you in the next one.